We are live. We are live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Hack Studios. I'm Art T. Bear, and I'm going to talk for the next hour or so about Kickstarter, and their crazy censorship of fellow friends and properties that do not deserve this kind of scrutiny, this kind of blacklisting, if you will. So, once again, excuse me. Excuse me. If there's anyone that's listening, let me know in the chat. This is going to be very interactive, so if you guys could just ask questions, leave comments, and we'll get some interactive back and forth here. It always works better when we have that. So, Shinto, hey, how are you? So, I don't know if you guys have been listening, but my buddy, Mike S. Miller, got blacklisted, blacklisted from Kickstarter with his Lone Star book. So I think he's on IndieGoGo now, so you guys might want to check that. He's on IndieGoGo. He's back on IndieGoGo where he belongs. So, thank you, Sticky Wicked. It is our anniversary, and I was going to talk about that, but yeah, I got a lovely picture of Pamela on our wedding day, so I'll show you guys that. So Lady Celtic Moon, or Celtic here, but Gary Shipman is drawing my parents. Hey, Victor Thomas. Hey, Gus Tyler Bush. How are you guys? Bethany, how are you? Hi. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about this, and I'm not the most eloquent person when it comes to these matters, about politics, about social justice, all that kind of stuff. And I purposely stay out of it most of the time because I don't feel like getting into it, quite frankly, because it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of my creative time. But this is about creativity. This is about expressing yourself. And this is about a platform that is policing people and creatives like myself. And just to back up a little bit, I do have history with Kickstarter. I did 2 Kickstarter campaigns with them, and I'm not going to blast Kickstarter. I don't have anything personally to say about them as far as negativity, although I do know this for a fact. Hey, Victor, how are you? That they really strongly encourage people to have a sob story, for the lack of a better term. They would never say sob story, but what they want is they want some kind of sob story or social justice kind of narrative to sell their properties. So they're looking for these type of stories or narratives to go in to help sell your properties or your book or whatever it is. And so I know this because they mentioned it to us. Like, what's your I guess human interest angle on this? It's like, well, human interest angle, I'm a creative person and I made a book and I want people to read it and enjoy it. That's as far as I go with it. I don't really have anything deeper to say. And they were like, well, you should think about it. You should have some kind of angle that, I don't know, is there somebody, that's being persecuted in your family? Is there, just suggestions? And I was like, no, I really do just want to sell, get this book into people's hands so they can enjoy it. And so right from the get-go, it didn't seem like a platform that I was really comfortable with, because I didn't have a human interest story to go with my book, with my property. And so right then and there, I was already kind of at a disadvantage on that platform. And I know if you guys go and you look at any of the Kickstarter like properties and projects, they mostly have some kind of narrative, some kind of, hey, Matt, how you doing? Matt Costin. So I should do these things with Matt Costin. Hey, Matt, would you like to come in and we can talk about this? Let me know. I've never done this before. Yeah, it is George Orwell stuff. You want to come in? I can send you a link. I think I have your Twitter. So let me know in the chat, and I'll try to do it in my limited way. But yeah, it's very. it's very cliquish there. And if you have a social justice agenda on Kickstarter, I think you'll do better, or at the very least, they'll like you more. So then present day, we have the Blacklist Universe Mike S. Miller situation. I don't know if you guys have heard, but he put volume 1, or his first Lone Star book, up on Kickstarter, and or tried to do it, and they sent him a letter that said that his content and whatever wasn't quite what I guess Kickstarter was looking for. And apparently Zach Yaboy and John Malin got something similar. I think their letters were the same. So it was mostly content and things, and they definitely have a bias. They don't really like right-leaning stuff. They don't like conservative viewpoints, and not just don't like it, but they don't tolerate it. They don't seem like they're even open to it. And so therein lies the problem. So that's why I said Kickstarter, censorship. So these guys are gatekeeping, and they do have an agenda, and they are selling it. They are selling the agenda, and it's not really about commerce and about making money. It seems to be more about social justice-y. I could jump in 10 to 15 minutes. If that would be too late. No, I'll send it now. I'll send you a link now and see if you want to come in. If you want to come in and drop your 2 cents, that would be great. Put your 2 cents in. Let me see if I can find you. I hope no one sees any of this. I think this is independent of my yard stream, but we will find out. We'll find out the hard way. I hope no one sees this. Let me see. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Okay. Once again, I hope no one sees this. All right. I'm going to go back. I hit this. Copy, and then I go over and I just drop it right in. Wait a minute. Where is this? Where is your messaging? Is that it? Is this it? This is it. Wait a minute. There you are. There you are. Wait. Okay. Click, paste, enter. All right, Matt, you got the link, and I hope I didn't out anybody. I didn't show something. Oh, on YouTube, I could do it on YouTube. Well, I sent it to your Twitter. I forgot you can do it through the stream here. I'll get this down one day. Oh, in the private chat. Yeah. No, I sent it to your Twitter, so you should have that. So whenever you want to come in, we can talk about this. I'll try to stall in the meantime. I'll stall around. So yeah, through yard stream. Thank you guys. You guys know this stuff better than I do. So improvisation has never been my thing. So yeah, and so Mike put up his IndieGoGo property, but his Lone Star property up, and they denied him. And they denied him for whatever reason. They don't actually specify the reason. They don't say this page or this panel or this whatever. They go right to this kind of overall letter that they send to people when they don't agree with their points of view. Basically, when they don't agree with their points of view, which is what happened to Mike, and what happened to your boy Zach and John Malin. And so apparently John kind of warned Mike a little bit, but Mike wanted to do it anyway. And to be honest, I mean, we're all looking for ways to get our IPs out there, and I can't blame Mike 100% for doing it. We all have to do what we feel is right, and pursue, these platforms the best way we know how, to make ends meet, and to get these books into as many people's hands. Personally, I wouldn't have done it, and I did. I was on a live stream with Mike and Edwin, and they mentioned it to me, and I I did consider it. I thought about it, and I didn't give an answer live on the air. I'll probably never do that because I just don't think that's the right place to commit to something. But I went later, and my wife and I hung out in the evening. This is when summer, it was still hot, and we were hanging out in the pool. We were just talking about it. And we just decided that Kickstarter probably isn't the best platform to take it, and that IndieGoGo and you guys in the Comicsgate community have been so supportive, and even people who aren't in the community have been very supportive. I'm not even drawing lines and putting distinctions between myself and like my politics and the fan base. I don't like, I want to make comics for everybody. I want to hit the biggest, widest market I can. And that's also why I don't really get politically, I don't have a political message in my work, and I try not to pontificate too much on my YouTube channels either. This is one of the rare occasions where I am going to do this, just because I feel very, very strongly about it. When there's a viable platform, there's a platform where I could take my book to, and I can get it to the masses, and then that venue can decide based on a political leaning or an SJW narrative if I can be part of it or not. Well, that dries up my revenue stream. That gives me less choices as far as a guy that wants to make comic books and get them into the hands of readers. So that's what I don't like. I don't like the limitations. I don't like when people have a strong platform like that and then use it against certain people in the name of fairness. We want to be inclusive to transgender, to this, that, or the other type of person, but we're not going to make it available to conservative whoever's or anybody that is politically in opposition, or we feel is opposition to us. This is not. This is. I think somebody in the chat said Orwellian. Yeah, this is pretty crazy, you guys, because this isn't about fairness and about equality, and it's not even about commerce. It's about an agenda. It's about marketing an agenda and doing everything they can to carry it out. And to be honest, in my lifetime, the people I've seen that do this the most are the biggest hypocrites. And the more you pontificate, I'm going to use that a lot because I have a show that I host that's called The Pontificators. And they are the biggest hypocrites of all. So if somebody's shouting, about equality or about this, that, or the other thing, usually they're trying to hide something. Usually they are what they're screaming about. And then time shows them for what they are. And I believe that Kickstarter is that. They are hypocritical. And I know I could be potentially burning a bridge with them, but I'm all in on IndieGoGo, and I'm all in on this platform. We've worked too damn hard. Everybody in the chat supporting, all the comic book creators, everybody that's taken their lumps. I wasn't persecuted the way some of these other guys were, like Malin or Ethan. You know what I mean? I wasn't pushed out of the mainstream comic book companies. Like DC did not fire me or anything. So I don't have that story. I did it by choice. I did it because I was kind of tired of not being able to be who I am or to speak my mind, as little as I do. But I knew if I said anything that it could be the end of my career. So I always had to be quiet and nod my head. And like I said, I'm not overly political, and I have strong beliefs, and I have those things, but I don't overly feel like I have to say them and to change people's minds. I'm just not like that. I just want to be able to create without those restrictions. I just want to create in a way that feels like it's open to everybody, and that I don't have to worry about saying something or doing something that might tick somebody off, and then having to pay a horrible price for that afterwards. And that's my main thing. That's why I wanted to do this show today. So we have Ray Thulu, we have Mark C. Let me catch up a little bit in the chat. Shark Book. Where is the Shark Book? What is this? I gotta back up. Doesn't matter. You have CG stink on you. Oh yeah, with the outside. Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not even sure what the CG stink is. To me, I just like all these guys. I like the community. That's why I will never distinguish between one side or the other. Like, I'm friends with Mike Miller. I'm friends with Dan Panosian. I'm friends with Ethan Von Sciver, John Malin. All of the Cecil. I'm friends with all those guys. I love all those guys. I have a blast hanging out. I have a blast, talking comics with these guys. I don't recognize those boundaries. I just don't. Not in my life. I'm just not wired that way. If somebody wants to make the distinction or put up the wall or to ostracize me, that's a choice they make. But that's not my choice. That's not how I am. So, and I have had mainstream people, because I am Comicsgate and I associate with CG. They have considered me toxic and don't hang out, or at the very least, they warn me a lot to get out and to change my evil ways. But the thing is, man, look at this last year. Look at what we've all accomplished. These books are highly successful. Black and White, I guarantee you guys, when I was considering all the options, I was thinking I was going to go Kickstarter with Black and White, and I was projecting Black and White at 20K. I was thinking, on Kickstarter, we'll probably do about 20K. And my gosh, we did almost 70K on IndieGoGo, hanging out on, everybody's stream and just having a good time hanging out with you guys. And like I said, all the other creators. And that's unheard of. My gosh, it blew my mind. I'm still reeling. I have another project that I have planned and I'm going to do soon. And it gives me hope. It makes me feel like this is all viable. Like, I can do these things. So I'm going to check to see if Matt got back to me. No, he did not. Not yet. So it's open. We might have Matt Cosson in the chat. He said 10, 15 minutes. So we have Pablo Romero Art. Hello. We have Starman. Art T. Bear, in my country during communism era. You know what? I'm going to put this up because this looks like it's going to be good. Starman says, Art T. Bear, in my country during communism era, or the communist era, the same crap was happening every day. Be careful, Americans. Yeah, this is okay. This is a cautionary tale right here. So I'm not sure. I guess this is Soviet Union. I'm not sure really where Starman's from, but yeah, this is cautionary, and this is where we're headed, you guys. If you don't believe me, we'll know soon enough. If we don't try to speak out against some of this stuff, it's censorship at its worst. It's McCarthyism. It's telling people what they can and cannot do, think what they, think the way they want you to think, act the way they want you to act. And this is absurd. I used to take these things for granted my whole life. I never thought this day would ever come, that we would be fighting just to have these basic freedoms. They always seemed like they were self-evident, that everybody respected them and everybody cared about them and everybody would fight for them. But apparently I am wrong. Something happened in the past 20 years or so. Mike needs to fulfill his shark campaign before anything else. Just saying. Yeah, Terrible T. I'm not sure why Mike hasn't, to be honest. The books are done. Personally, I think he should as well. Black and White, did take a long time, and it went past the original deadline because I did believe in my heart of hearts that it was just going to be a remastering. But I'm a perfectionist. My wife just had this conversation with me yesterday. She goes, "You're a perfectionist. That's why it takes you so long to do everything." And I am. I want to make sure I get it right. And these creator-owned properties, these IPs, these are your baby. These are you. You can't hide behind Marvel or DC on these things. It's all you. So you want to make sure it's the best it can be, and you want to make sure that the voice is your voice and that it's unique to yourself, to who you are, because you don't want to, you don't want to seem like you're just mirroring Marvel or DC. The only thing we have as indie creators is our own voice, our own take, and that's the unique aspect. And that's the only unique aspect actually that we have. So I don't know, NPPL talking about the other PPLs, dollars got some funny business going on with theirs. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Falling on your face gets attention. I don't know if you guys are talking about Mike. Mike was playing 4D chess. Oh, okay, I'm going back a little bit. So Mike, I'm not CG. 5-word defense didn't work. Shocking. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we all have to do what we think is right. We all have to go in our own directions. So I don't fault anybody for trying to get their book in front of as many readers as they can. Art is just too nice. I don't know about nice. I try to be fair and I try to be nice, but thank you. So there you go. Yeah, I'm a nice guy. CG dad art. Yeah. Clean your room. Clean your room. Okay, Terrible T. Yep. Pablo Romero. Mike said he already paid for the printing of the Meg. Well, yeah, he paid for that, but he's got to get those books out into people's hands. Yeah. So I was talking about black and white. The only reason I really brought that up is I wanted to give you guys an update and to thank you for all your support and patience. And it is at the printer, and we did get the comps. Well, they're not comps, they're proofs. And we did go over them, and we did make some changes to it to make it a better product. So I believe that's all ironed out, and it should be all strapped to a printer or a printing press, and they should be getting those things done. I also did mention to them about the buckling paper problem that Ethan had. I guess it's an ink saturation and not drying properly. So it's not that he cut corners. It was more like the printer kind of made a misstep, and that does happen. I have other comics that have some of the kind of rippling effect in them, and it does happen from time to time. Okay, so if you want to know why Meg is late, there are updates on the IndieGoGo page explaining. Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but if you guys want to check it out, Derek says check out, I guess, Mike's IndieGoGo. Art is a legend. I'm a living legend. Thank you, Daniel. I'm going to put this up just so everybody knows how cool I am. Thank you, Daniel C. Daniel C is my brother. He is older than I. Okay, Terrible T, CG granddad. Yes, I'm your granddad. Now go to your room. Yeah, so I did have some stuff. Let me see. I'm going to just try to see if I can do this. Okay, hit screen share. I do this. I do this. I do this. And then I go here. So hopefully you guys can see this. This is kind of what I'm talking about as far as agenda. This is Kickstarter. I hope you guys can see this because I have no way of really telling. So this is the transphobia project. So this is supposed to be designed to, I guess, help people and to spread love within the world and bring us closer together. I'm being a little facetious there. So I guess this funded, and it's Rebecca. We have to thank. Let's see if it is Rebecca. Oh, it's Andrea. So I hope you guys can read this if it's big enough. What your support allows. They're going to give you permission. Even the wording's weird. I can get a little financial breathing room. Okay, this is just why she wants the money. So this is how it works. So look at this, man. This is like Magneto trying to find mutants with his Cerebro device. This, I guess, you know what? I'm gonna preface it with, so you guys know kind of what this is about before I get into all the writing. This is to identify people that are transphobic. So people that speak out against their community, against, I guess, their belief system, or any kind of misdemeanors that they see happening. So I guess this is a way of policing and finding people who speak out and say things against the transphobic community. So anytime someone publishes media on these topics, a score called the T or AT index is generated for that work. That T index also gets applied to the creator or co-authors or editors, the platform where it appeared, and the organizations that support that platform. Pattern appear or starts to appear. Those with high T index become more prominent on the chart. When you select something, this is scary stuff, you can see the connections. For instance, collaborators, where the work appears, or people mentioned in your work. They're being purposefully kind of vague, but when you read on, you can kind of, well, you know exactly where this is going. Then you can go deeper into that data, which measures how many people from our community, they're already like, you know, being very possessive. Like, it's just the community. We're all just human beings. Let's just say that. They employ the scores for specific works and so on. So what this is a way is to find people like myself right now. I think they would probably take this as an infraction, and I'd probably make their list by just talking about this in the way I am. So I would get on their T index. So appearing on charts does not, this is their disclaimer, does not necessarily mean a person or organization is transphobic. Oh, thank God. So I guess that means I'm non-transphobic. Thank you for the disclaimer. I myself appear on the chart shown above because I have been published or mentioned in measured publications. My T index reflects my work that some community members consider negative. So they're trying to like, oh, this is my little disclaimer. So my previous projects and results. So they show you kind of, this is kind of how it works. You guys, this is finding the Jews. This is finding a certain type of person so they can persecute them. I'll keep reading. This is very hard for me. In 2003, I began developing this interactive chart above before most people knew what social media was. It quickly helped us identify biased researchers and organizations, allowing us to focus our community's limited resources on stopping those people. They're limited. They're being persecuted. They're the underdogs. Yeah, well, I have limited resources too. I almost called them a name, but then I wouldn't be the nice guy I am. The end result was getting laws passed to protect trans and gender diverse youth. We even helped shut down the worst children's gender clinic in the world. I don't know what a children's gender clinic is, and there's no link to that. So I have absolutely no idea what that is. And the thing is, listen, oh my gosh, I want to call them names so badly. Listen, person, the same laws that are on the books, they protect transgender, gender diverse youth as they do straight, heterosexual, gay, male, female, black, Hispanic, Asian. The laws do not discriminate, jackass. The laws do not discriminate against anybody. The law is blind. Have you ever seen the Lady Justice, holding she's blind and she's holding whatever the hell that is, that scale. Yeah, the law is supposed to be blind, and they do the best they can to be that. So they don't see gender, they don't see any of these things. So if there is an indiscretion and a law is broken, they will go to court and they will be persecuted or tried just like anybody else. So it doesn't matter what, left, right, indifferent, whatever you are, the law does not discriminate. If a true law has been broken, but I don't know what this protection is, and I don't know what kind of specific laws you need to pass to protect just an average trans or gender diverse person that's any different than me or my family or anybody on this block. The same laws apply. We don't need special laws for special, or certain types of people. I think that's ridiculous. That's very, very centric, and that's very, very ego. There, I said it. The Transphobic Project will do the same thing in media, but in more dramatic way that uses the latest technology. What technology this is very, very vague. Does this person have a cerebral helmet? Are they in one of those rooms and they can see all the people that are saying negative things about trans people? Do they pop up on the screen so they can go hunt them down? So, but in a more dramatic way that uses the latest technology, it will help us identify and expose bias, and maybe even, get this, get a few people fired along the way, fired for expressing their points of view based on your criteria, not the law, not freedom of speech, none of those things. You'll just get them fired. You'll put pressure on their company to the point that it becomes a what do they call those? A PR nightmare, and they'll just fire those people because they don't want any of the negative press. And that's what you're basing this on. This is shameful. Shame on you, Transphobic Project. This is horrible. This is Salem witch hunts, man. This is insane, you guys. Do you realize this is on a Kickstarter platform? This exists on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is backing this. Kickstarter said yes to this. They said, yeah, this is not hateful. This meets all of our criteria. This is not hunting down a certain type. This is not bias. This is not hate. No, this is just love. This is just peace. This is all of us living together and accepting each other. No, this is about hunting down people you don't like and then getting them fired. You even say it. This is insane. This is crazy stuff. Well, you know what? You guys get that. I don't need to get into more of this, but Mike gets bounced for his little comic book project, where he portrays a Hispanic gangbang, not gangbang. Whoa, that was bad. I think that they were going to hurt that girl that way, but a gang that were going to hurt a girl. So in a true hero fashion, the hero comes in and stops the crime from happening. And Mike's character, Lone Star, does it in a very aggressive way. Some might even say violent way. But that's the way he dispenses justice. There's a character called the Punisher, and depending on who writes Batman, Batman's been known to break a bone or two. So, things that Mike did in that comic book aren't out of the realm, and it's not like he's, this is the first, action adventure to have somebody shoot out kneecaps and break somebody's arms. In what was it? Was it Dark Knight? The Chris Nolan film, doesn't he throw that gang? What is it, that organized crime boss out a window, and you can hear his legs snap? Like, I don't know, man. That's Batman. This stuff happens. So and you have to. The thing is, you can't take this stuff out of context. You have to read the whole book, and you have to see that those guys were clearly bad people. It wasn't like, that they were marginalized or whatever. It was a Hispanic gang. It could have been an Asian gang. It could have been a white gang. It could have been any gang. That had nothing really to do with it. Mike just chose that gang, and he probably chose it because visually it's kind of cool looking. It's kind of a cool, I don't know. They have tattoos all over them, and they have ways of talking, so it's very colorful and it's visual. So he chose that as the bad guys. So he chooses vampires as bad guys too. Should we defend them? I don't really know what the criteria was, why Lone Star was bumped from Kickstarter, but this is the stuff. This is what Kickstarter is about. So I know Ethan was saying we should just ban Kickstarter. I mean, you guys do whatever. I'm never going to tell anybody what to do. But for me personally, it's not a good fit. I'm not gonna. If I can get away with never being, like, I never say never. So I just want to say that, and I don't want to seem like I'm wishy-washy either. I just never say never, because you just never know what the future is going to bring. So I don't want to seem like a hypocrite. So that's why I never say never. So, we got Ethan, or no, it's Edwin. So what is I hope I'm not causing any trouble, because that's not my agenda here. So let's see what Edwin says. Don't make him angry. You wouldn't like art when he gets angry. That's Sticky Wicked said that. Okay, so Edwin is answering Pablo Romero. Art, thanks for that. It's more fun to speculate and gossip rather than to go ask people directly. Yeah, and I don't want to seem like I'm disparaging anybody, because that's not what I'm doing here. I'm mostly just going after Kickstarter because they have an agenda, man, and it's very, very clear. And when a friend of mine gets a book bumped, it's just not cool. Yeah, for me personally, like I said, I'm going to stick with IndieGoGo. I like the support, and I like the platform. I do think it's a superior platform. And wait a minute. Okay. We have Matt Cosson. Hey, Matt, I hope you weren't waiting long.
No, not too long.
Okay, cool.
Just a few minutes.
Yeah, so everybody, we got Matt Cosson on here. So we can maybe back up a little bit. Have you been listening, Matt?
Oh, yeah, I've been listening, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been talking a lot. How do you feel about these things? I'm just throwing you. I hope I'm not throwing you under the bus, but go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm not afraid to talk about stuff. Yeah, I remember when you were talking about earlier, my first thought was about that trans project Kickstarter, because I remember seeing that like a month or two ago or something like that. And when you were talking about how they're trying to block people who don't conform to one way of thinking, I thought about that, and that was totally Orwellian, where they said keeping track of people who don't have the group think, or don't belong to the group think. And that is frightening. I don't know how that doesn't frighten like everybody, even people who agree with that type, thinking. I mean, not the thinking of control, but yeah, just anybody who cares about freedom of speech, freedom of expression. That should bother everybody, really.
Yeah, this is the thing, the hypocrisy that exists, because Kickstarter is saying it's inclusive. we want, like marginalized people, and they kind of want you to tell your sob story. They want you to say like, what's your personal, like reason for doing this? And usually what they want is some kind of dirt on like, oh, you know what? I have a handicapped person in my family, or a blind person, or like whatever kind of like human interest story. And it was funny because my daughter just graduated from a very liberal art college in Laguna Beach. And so
Oh, yeah.
one of the things is they force those kids to write a paper on these type of things, like how do you feel marginalized, and like they're almost like pushing it, like to get a grade she had to tell like some kind of human interest story. She had to tell like a personal story of how she's been wronged and these type of things in front of a class. Like sometimes these things are very personal, you know what I mean? You don't want to go out and share these things with everybody, but to get a grade, she had to do this. And so she came home and we had dinner and we talked, she's talking to my wife and I, and you know what? This is what we decided. We said, you know what? You have to do what you think is right. But if you want to make up a story, make up a story to get a grade, because this is really none of their business. But this is kind of what the way Kickstarter is. Like Kickstarter wants you to share your dirty laundry with people, So this is where you talk, Matt.
Okay, sorry. It was trying to lag on me. Everything went quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, must be my connection. I heard about, the last thing I heard you say was that this is what you want to do, or make up a story.
Yeah, so basically we just said if she wanted to make up a human interest story, if she wasn't comfortable with sharing a real personal private moment to a classroom, then don't do it. When I was younger, they used to call it like, don't let people know where your goat is hidden, because if you let them know your weakness, they'll exploit it. So it used to be kind of a thing that you did, because you can't really expect people to be okay with it, because people are people. So if you share a weakness or something, not everybody will respect it, and not everybody will think it's amazing. Some people will judge you very harshly and think you're a weak human being.
That's the thing, is like I grew up a similar way, where it's like I don't tell everybody my business, my personal business. The reason it's a private life is there's a reason why there's a term private life, right? You don't share everything with everybody, because your life has value, right? And different parts of your life you share with people who have more of a close personal relationship with you. It shows you have a little more value than some stranger off the street in relationship wise, right?
Yeah.
And so I just don't get. I think with this new, it's not new, but the advent of like social media, where everybody just shares everything about them, they've kind of grown accustomed to sharing personal information. Because I've been in a situation where I was talking about stuff, I'm like, what? Way too much information. I don't know you,
Yeah.
And, I try to roll with it, but I don't reciprocate. I only give out a certain amount of information, and I don't understand. I guess it is because social media has kind of lowered the shields for a lot of people, and they've been trained that way.
Yeah, I don't.
So,
I'm the same way.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess I'm really getting a lot of thumbs down.
Really?
I can't see the live. I'm not looking at the live stream right now. I'm in StreamYard, so I don't.
People don't like free thought, huh? They're against anybody
well, you
who
know
thinks
what?
differently.
You know what, Matt? I wonder when the thumbs down came. I wonder if it's when you came in. Maybe it's thumbs down to Matt.
Yeah, as long as you stay quiet and don't say anything good, everybody likes you. But as soon as you talk and express, that's when people. It's funny. Like I've gotten to the point where I don't really care. I mean, if people don't like me based on I'd rather have people not like me based on who I am than not like me based on some like facade I put up, some fake persona. And like I said, I put everything out there, but at some point I just don't care. I mean, I'm like, if you don't like me, I'm not gonna like try to bend over backwards to make you like me. Because I'm a nice guy. I'm respectful, polite to people, courteous. just the usual things that I taught to be towards people who I know and don't know. But like I said, if they have a problem, I mean, I just be myself, and hopefully sometime they'll come around. Maybe they'll understand. But I try not to over-explain myself, because I thought I could do that before to people, and it just it just backfired.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I said earlier, like with Marvel DC, it's either you say something and then tick somebody off, or you just don't say anything. And it's weird because the world we live in now, it's it's forcing people like you and I, Matt. I think we talked early on when you started coming over and publishing books here and things, that it life is forcing even people like you and I to take a stand. Like it's no longer where you can kind of stay in the middle. It's like you see your way of life changing, and you see potential freedoms that you grew up thinking that were always going to be there going away. And for the life of, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, just yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah. So you know, it almost forces even people like you and I that don't really talk too much about this to say things. And especially when a friend like Mike, you know, gets banned, you know, even though he was warned not to do it, you know, he gets banned from a platform based on a criteria that they don't even clearly say. You know, they keep it very vague, and that's pretty. I'm just gonna say that's pretty chicken shit. You know, it's pretty chicken shit when
yeah,
somebody doesn't really even tell you what the infraction is, and then they ban you based on it. It's funny because years ago on Howard Stern, I think it was when the Janet Jackson thing went down at the Super Bowl, where she showed a nipple, right? And then the whole world lost its mind, and everybody was calling for like censorship. Oh, we need to censor these things because, you know, God forbid live things can happen, you know, like these things, like whether it was an accident or was calculated, I don't know, and I don't even care, but it's the backlash that happened. And so then the government, I guess, felt like they had some power, because I don't remember exactly how it went down, but that a division of government opened up, and they were in charge of, like, I guess, policing good taste, you know, amongst people. And so what they were
yeah.
doing is they started fining Howard Stern's program. So he would do an episode, and then he would get this like notice from the government that he stepped out of line, and so that he was fined for whatever it was. So then
Wow.
this kept happening. This kept happening. And so then finally he just said, "You know what, you guys? I don't know exactly what I'm saying. What am I doing that you don't like? Because I don't know." He said, "Give me an outline. Give me an outline of what I can and cannot say, and then I'll know. So then if I break the rule or I break the law, then I'll know what I'm doing, and then you can find me. But you can't really push a penalty on somebody when they're clearly not understanding what it is that they did to break that rule." You know what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
Mike's case, Mike doesn't really know. It was a vague outline of like, this is our policy. Oh, so you shoehorned somehow this thing into this policy. Very vague, you know, one sentence policy. And so, you know, Howard Stern, because he was a powerful guy, he actually got all that overturned, and they basically dismantled that part of government, because he actually called their bluff and said, what can I do and what can't I do? And that's the problem with a lot of this free speech and these types that want to monitor and control language. Well, what would be the criteria? You know?
yeah, yeah. I know. I talk to people, and like I said, personally, I kind of the place where I'm, like I said, I want to be respectful and polite to people and not step on people's feelings. I don't like doing that, but it's kind of become beyond ridiculous these days, where I'm like, I really don't care. Like, I be myself, I'm being respectful, but if they say, well, you hurt my feelings, I've had people accuse me of stuff like for instance, on Facebook, I put up a link about the new James Bond movie where it has the female from I can't remember her name offhand, she's playing 007, and I just kind of made a comment that was pretty. It was pretty. It was just simple. I was like, oh man, are you kidding me? And man, people made comments that were just kind of funny, you know, kind of like, but they were comments, you know, kind of like old school humor, like Rodney Dangerfield, the old humor where like, here, look at me, feel ball and chain, my wife, you know, that type of, you know, humor where it's just old school. Everybody just kind of laughs like, oh yeah, yeah. And now it's because one of the people I knew were really offended by it, and she's younger, and she said, well, I don't blame you for their comments, because she messaged me, and she goes, but I think this and this, and as we talked, like I go, I found out, well, she does blame me for the comments. I was like, she goes, well, you need to apologize. Like, I didn't even say anything. You know, people are just making comments. I go, and these guys who are commenting, they're married, you know, there's different mixed races. I mean, they're just making, you know, comments that are middle-aged guys who are just joking around, right? But I thought, my brother's like, leave it alone. Don't try to talk online. You can't, don't even try to just explain online, because you can't do it. And I thought, no, I can do it. You know, I know her, and we can talk. And well, it didn't work. I couldn't, because I'm like, how can I do this? It was like trying to walk through a minefield, you know. How can I, whatever I say, you know, well, don't take it too seriously. Well, that's an insult to some people. Because, hey, feelings are real, but I think a lot of times the ideologies today that people are pushing is like trying to make everybody hypersensitive so you can be offended by a gust of wind, you know. And to me, that's like a weakness. Is like, you should have thick skin in life, because life is not going to treat you with kid gloves. So I think they're training people to be really offended so easily. They're training people to be easily controlled.
Exactly.
And,
that's exactly
they need to be protected, you know?
a docile public.
Yeah, and that's why I really, I like I said, I was never somebody vocal about it, but now I'm realizing, man, I have to say something, because this is like starting to enter into my life through people I actually love and care about, and I'm like, they're being affected by this type of mindset, and maybe to a lesser degree than some of the people you see online, where they're just totally watched, they're just totally like out there. And I know, and then also social media makes you a little bit more brave, so you can like say a bunch of things you never say in person to another person. But yeah, I've noticed that, oh man, I gotta say something. So it's better to talk in person with some people, but they're afraid. They're like, in online, they're really bold and everything. But when you meet them in person, all of a sudden, like, hey, how you doing? You know, things change. I'm like, hey, you know, I thought you had a problem. I thought it was like, you know, life and death. Now it's like, oh, how's it going?
Yeah.
Like, I had no problem with those people, but
yeah, and the thing is like, well, who watches The Watchmen? Who would these people, like, if they got their way, right? Let's just, I mean, to be honest, just to back up, there are hundreds of sci-fi novels and what ifs that have been basically warning society for decades, you know, about this type of stuff, you know, thought speak and policing and controlling population, telling them what they can say, what they can't say, and things like that. And then there's a population that these cautionary tales don't mean anything. Like they're just like, oh, well, that's not true. Well, yeah, it's not a true story, but like H.G. Wells and what is it? I can't think of, like Jules Verne and you know, a lot of these guys, you know, have been saying like some of this stuff is not good. Some of these things can lead to bad, like even Frankenstein is a cautionary tale. So like, these are the same people that have read all these books. These are people that read comics. They, you know, I thought that we were all kind of like-minded in a lot of this stuff. I got to get Mike's thing off of here. I can't find anything cooler. Let's see what Edwin says. Pot's drawing last night. Okay, let's just go. Oh, here we go. Who knew George Orwell was a prophet? Exactly. Like, yeah, we just thought that was just a fun story. But yeah, it was. It's interesting, but my thing is, I remember I did a panel with a bunch of comic book people years ago in the 90s, and it was like Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri and Mark Bagley, and there was a bunch of us, And I think it was like the past, present, and future of comic books kind of panel. And somebody in the panel talked about censorship, about censoring comic books and stuff like that. And so I just said, yeah, okay, censorship. Let's say we all agree on it. Okay, we all think censorship is great. But who are the ones that get to censor it? Who are the ones that get to make these decisions? That for me is always the scariest question, is who is that person going to be, or who is that group going to be? Because I don't trust anybody to that extent, that's going to make policy like that based on, a think tank or a group like maybe Kickstarter that gets to, make this, I guess policies and procedure based on a bias, based on an agenda. Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is like people say, oh, it's for the. They always use the excuse, well, it's for the commonwealth, the common good. It's for, inclusion. It's always use positive words to like back up like a totalitarian take on things. It's always like like I remember watching the video where they showed the guys in masks and they had billy clubs, and this is really on the streets. It might have been Portland or something, but they had shields, and the shields had a cartoon character and it said love, peace, and these guys look like vicious, angry, like killers, and they had cartoons, with love and peace on it, signs. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's like, it was so cartoony. It's something you would see in a movie, like you said, an Orwellian movie, love is hate, war is peace. But it's like, who's in charge? If we give them that power to decide what is acceptable and what's not acceptable, it's going to change according to whoever comes into power, and that's dangerous. And I just don't know how people can't see that. And when you talk to them about it, it's like they act like you're being extreme. I'm like, hey, it's right here at a doorstep. We're seeing people trying to push legislation to limit speech and to actually penalize it.
Yeah, and also without going through due process, like they just want to push a law through. Like they don't necessarily want it to go to any kind of vote or to be debated. They just kind of want to push that agenda and get that through. But to me, it's like, be careful what you wish for, man, because I have a pretty good imagination, and all I see when I project into the future based on the future that they have planned for us, it's doom and gloom. Anytime you say you want a future that's utopian, it's never going to happen, people. Those are fantasies. It can never exist, and nor would you really want it to exist, because to have utopia, you have to have complete and utter agreement. 100%. There cannot be any freedom of speech. There cannot be any freedom of thought, because if you're going to have a utopian society, you cannot be in opposition to anybody. And so based on that alone, what the hell are you people talking about?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't you see what, like you said, that one famous, I've seen that famous meme or whatever, a few memes. It says, was it 1984, James Orwell's 1984 was a warning, right? Not a instruction manual, right? And it's like people are using it, all these taxes, and it's like you said, all these books exist. How can people not see it? It's already out there, and it's exactly what we're seeing today being employed in those fantasies, those fictional books. And yeah, it's crazy. That's why I believe to be vocal, because I believe there's a silent majority, like the people who are out there being vocal about all this stuff, about control and about trying to, socially engineer our society. I believe those are a minority, but they're the loudest, and we just have to have the guts to stand. And yeah, I think we do have the silent majority. People are, in the middle, more in the middle than we think.
Yeah, and I think more and more, I believe you and I talked about this off one of the streams privately, about that there are a lot of people that are like us that have been silent and that are probably going to get off that fence soon. And I think 2020, this new election, is going to force more and more people to get off that fence and to start taking a side. And the only problem I see is that the moderates and the people in the middle, which is I would say I'm more right leaning at this point, more conservative leaning, although I've always been kind of more, on the Democratic side and more of the progressive side. But I think the parties are really shifting and they're changing. They're almost becoming each other. As we talk. And the thing is, I just think that to be a moderate and to be somewhere in the middle, like the way I look at it is, to be truly fair, I can't really become like one side or the other, because as soon as I am on one side or the other, I know this sounds wishy-washy, but then I lose objectivity, because then I'm not really voting for the best person I think can take the position, or the best, whatever I'm voting on. I can't take the best position, because then I have to vote my party, or I have to stringently go in one direction because I want my party to win. And I think once you do that, I do believe you lose some objectivity and fairness. And so I've always been a little bit more, I guess, when you get older, they always say that, that you become more conservative, because you start realizing what is important in the world and what isn't. And when you're younger, you're kind of more pie in the sky idealism and stuff like that. But whatever it is at this point in time, I can see things pretty clearly, like the past, the present, and even where we're going. And Mike's saying, get off the fence, Art. I like the fence, Mike. Hey, Mike, this is exactly me not getting. This is me getting off the fence, man. This is Matt getting off the fence. That's exactly the point of what we're trying to make, is that we're actually getting in the game. We're actually speaking our point of view. And so this is me getting off the fence, Mike. As much you might not agree with it.
It's funny. It's funny how simply just talking about it, even you and I, we're not being like partisan, I guess you could say, the way we're talking. We're talking in general terms. At least to me, it's general. But it's funny how that now has become, well, you must be a winger because you're talking about freedom of speech. And it's like, wait, it should be everybody, right? Everybody should believe in freedom of speech. But it's they go, no, we have to protect people, and the way to protect them is by policing you specifically, and that's not freedom. And it's crazy though. It seems like common sense to me, but I realize there's a lot of like indoctrination. Like I said, I believe there's social engineering going on, not just in classrooms and everything, but in film and comics. We see in comics, movies, everything. I mean, like you even just said, the Kickstarter, they want to know what kind of agenda, your social agenda, you're trying to push. If it lines up with it's obviously have an agenda. And that's what, to me, it should be troubling. It's like, you should be just, hey, the phone company's not going, you know what, we want your conversations to lean more this way. Talk to your friends on the phone more about this, instead of like, what do you want to talk to your friends about? Then we'll let you use our T-Mobile, we'll let you use Verizon. That's just crazy.
And it will happen. I mean, because they're not going to be able to clearly put laws down, because it will be completely in opposition to the Constitution. But what they'll do is they'll privately, like these companies like Kickstarter, will set these rules and regulations and create policies without going even through the government. And I have this wacky conspiracy theory. As soon as I heard this, I was like, this totally makes sense, because I heard that Bob Iger, the head of the Disney Corporation, is possibly going to run for president. So as soon as you hear that, you go, well, now I understand the Star Wars agenda. Now I understand the Marvel agenda, because what these guys are doing is they are changing policy. They are, like you said, they're socially engineering through their media and their contacts. So this guy is already running for political office. You know what I mean? He's already influencing people's way of thinking and doing. And so I always I always say follow the money.
Go
ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it totally, like you said, it substantiates all the things that we've been observing. Just kind of like doing something like that, you're like, see, that's their whole end goal. They believe they're trying to like basically prepare the waters for their own, dip into the pool. You want to try to get people on board before they step out, and it's working in some degrees, that the social engineering, but it's backfiring, I think, on a big time, because you can see people even like they're starting to turn on each other from those groups, because one group doesn't totally tilt the party line or whatever the group thing. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see it. I think that it's not going to go the way they think. I think things are changing. People are starting to wake up to, I think, a lot of the programming. And yeah, I try to point out some to my friends. Some of my friends, they don't totally disagree with me, but they're a little bit on a different spectrum politically. And so I try to talk to them in ways where we can meet in the middle and agree on specific things. And they do see the engineering too. I'll point that out to them and talk to them about certain things. So like I said, I'm not against women taking roles in movies, but my pointing out like every other role or every major movie is like pushing a man to the back seat and putting the woman in the front. That's social engineering. And people are like, well, if women being in the lead roles, I go, you realize that much of the 80s films that everybody loves, who are mostly guys, like science fiction, are all women, like led, like Alien, right? Everyone loves Aliens. Sigourney Weaver was the strong woman. People were like, oh, I don't want to watch that. That's a woman in the lead. No, we loved Aliens, and we liked that she was in it. Same thing with Linda Hamilton, Terminator. Yeah, these things, people love those things. Like all the comic nerd culture, if you will, I love that. They weren't turned off by a woman in the lead. We're turned off by what we know they're trying to do, is trying to socially engineer by denigrating men, right? Saying men are this and that, putting up false narratives. And like I said, I'm not against women being in the role, but why do you have to like push a guy out of the role, like for instance James Bond or the Ghostbusters that did pretty bad? It's like, I don't have a problem with female Ghostbusters, but it's like they're purposely trying to push guys out, trying to kind of change things in a way that is like very dictatorial. I think, I don't know if that's what it is. They want to control though and shape people and beat you down if you don't agree. That's where I can see that the problem when I try to discuss with people.
Yeah, there's a theory I have, and and I'm sure other people have the same thought, is that by doing this, like, not that the masculine male is the only thing in, to oppose like the government or whatever, but if you think about it as an agenda overall, like, toxic masculinity, how retarded and ridiculous that is, and the male driven world, and that's why we're in such chaos and turmoil. I don't know, man. I look outside my window and I think the world is pretty damn cool. I
Yeah.
so thankful every day I get up. I'm like, I got clean water. I can, I got heat. I got air conditioning. I have all these modern comforts. I can go anywhere pretty much within reason. I can do anything. This is a pretty killer world. And then you hear these people just talking about how horrible it is and how messed up it is. And I'm like, what world are you guys living in? Because I don't see that. None of my friends hate women. None of my friends hate gay or transgendered. We don't even have these conversations. It never even comes up. We just kind of accept people for what they were. It's so funny because like the 90s, like I always kid. I go, you know what? And I've said this for years, and I know this is so politically incorrect. I used to say, you know what? The 90s were the gayest decade of all. When you see like George Michaels and like Boy George, and you see the pastel colors that the masculine like Miami Vice are wearing and stuff like that, and you look back and you think, man, that was really out there. There was some weird stuff going on. And then but at the time, you were just kind of, what I mean by weird, I just mean that it was unusual, not that it was sick or grotesque or anything like that, but you just accepted it because it was very matter of fact. Like George Michaels would wake me up before you go in his like dolphin shorts, and you know what I mean, like dancing really weird, and you're just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I like that song. Like you just kind of accepted it. You moved on. You didn't go, oh man, that is that is really gay, but you might say it in passing like it was funny or it's like a joke, but you never really meant like that was horrible or disgusting or anything like that. It was just a fun observation you had. And now like, you know, like where all those people still exist, Matt. We're still here. You know, we accept the 90s. I bought most of their albums. You know what I mean? Like, I thought those songs were cool. I have a few Culture Club albums. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
It's true. I've had people say that, what is it? We're talking about those, I said to the one girl I was talking to that she offended, I said, you know, there's going to be things like jokes and things that we find funny today that like 15, 20 years from now, people, the next generation will be like, that's offensive, man. I'm like, what? No, it's not. That's fully racist or sexist. And they go, no, everybody's laughing at it. It's because everybody back then was racist or sexist. And that's how ridiculous. I remember even as a kid, and I would hear some things they would talk about. I'm like, oh man, that kind of made me a little comfortable. And it's funny looking back now. I'm saying that I could see some teens are finding uncomfortable, and I'm like, really? I gotta become like grandmother? And to me, I'm saying things that are far less grating or controversial, you know. And but I even some people agree with me. I can see when we talk in the public, because I'm based in California, I can see some people look uncomfortable. And I could even start feeling that myself, like I'm almost uncomfortable to speak about certain things, and that kind of made me mad. I'm like, why am I feeling comfortable? It's not nothing wrong with what I'm saying, you know? And
yeah, but it's society. Yeah, it's society kind of like forcing you, or to even second guess yourself. That's the part that I don't like. It's like I have to second guess myself. I have to think about what I say before I say it. And if we live in a society like that, we lose honesty. And if we can't talk honest, then how are these problems going to go away? They're still going to exist. You're just going to be lying and covering them up in this like plastic, you know, PC culture. And those problems are still going to exist because people are people, man. They don't really change that much over centuries. I think our laws and our way to govern ourselves do, but I don't think people fundamentally change that much. Yeah. And by the way, Roxham, it was the 80s. So I said,
80s, man.
It's the 80s, man. And I do not know, Matt. Do you know what is this whole Dan thing? Is Mike just? Is he trolling me here? Art, no.
He's talking about a certain Dan, a comic artist.
Okay, so he will never speak to you again. Who is this Dan?
Is it Dan? Starts with a P.
Dan. Oh, Dan. Oh, okay. Yeah, Mike he tries to get under my skin with that name. So okay, I thought it was in the chat.
Yes.
Okay, I love Dan Panosian. He's a good friend. So there, Mike.
And he's a great artist.
Talk about I will never hate him.
It's funny, there's so many artists out there that I totally disagree with, fundamentally just on politics or whatever. So, you know, I totally disagree with them, but I love their art, and it doesn't change. Unless they're really disgusting, I can't listen with their art anymore because they're really vile towards me or someone else. Yeah, but if they have different point of view, I don't care.
Same. Because the thing is, I think if you know your truth, or if you're honest with yourself, you understand yourself, and you know what the truth is, at least your truth, people can't really sway you one way or another, because you kind of know things. And I think that's the problem, where there are people that they don't understand that there are fundamental truths in the world, and there is fundamental right and wrong, and there is, you know, morality. And they think sometimes if there's one infraction in a person's character, then they aren't morally upright. Like, I know we're kind of all over the place, but it still kind of fits. Like our founding fathers and stuff like that, they say, oh, well, some of them own slaves. So then that basically negates everything that they've done, everything. And it's like, there are multiple sides to everybody's personality. Everybody isn't perfect, and everybody doesn't say things that everybody agrees to or likes. So like by today's standards too, what was it? I think of this all the time because I saw a documentary on what is his name? Is it Mulholland? The guy that basically built the aqueduct from Colorado into California. And just if that guy pitched that today, to basically bring fresh water into California, because LA was dying because it couldn't get any bigger because we just didn't have the natural resources here in California to have this many people. So it either would have dried up or there would be very few people that lived here. And so he had this vision to build this aqueduct. Could you imagine trying to get that through, all these standards and EPA and all these different organizations to try to do that today? Holy crap. It would never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have we gotten better or have we gotten worse?
Well, it's funny because looking back at like some things like past articles and stuff I've come across on the web, I've seen some of the same things that we see today being pushed. Like I've seen it same signs and everything from like the 60s and 70s, right? And like the same slogans and stuff. And it I was just like kind of shocked by it, but realized a lot of the people who are in these like protests and movements, they're all older people that were from that era and they're still pushing the same thing. They never like changed, they never grew out of it, and they became professors or billionaires in like media and trying to push the same ideology, even though the world should have showed them it doesn't work, and they haven't changed. And I don't know, LA, man. Yeah, because I'm like I said, in California, I knew when I moved here, because I'm from the Midwest, and I knew when I moved here, people warned me about how it would be, and I knew that, and it's pretty much, it's no big shock or surprise to me how some people are here. But what surprised me was there is a large number of people who are more centered, bigger than you would think.
Yeah, they just don't control. They just don't have a voice, and they don't have access or a voice, like the liberal media does.
Yeah. They don't. That's the thing. It's funny is how people talk about marginalized groups, but some of the said marginalized groups are occupy the highest positions of power in media and politics, and so I kind of find that funny that they say that, because really people that they always say, well, people with power are the ones, they're not minorities, they're not real true minorities or oppressed if they're in power, and they obviously they're speaking about white people most of the time. They're doing that, but it's like there's a lot of people in all these different areas of, like I said, power, entertainment, politics, and they're like occupy positions of power and policies and agendas, and like we're seeing that now, like Kickstarter in Hollywood. We obviously see stuff like that going on.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said earlier, just follow the money. Just follow the money, and you realize that even green power and all this stuff, these are money-making organizations. These are cash grabs for power and money. So don't get too sucked into any of these things, because this is how I feel. If we really wanted to bring change to society, they could legislate that in a heartbeat. We could have significant changes to the greenhouse effects and all these different things that they're always, screaming about. And they're saying these are the most important things in the world is the environment. Well, the thing is, okay, let's just back up for a minute. If solar is exactly what they say it is, right? It works perfectly, whatever. We put solar panels on our house. Then why isn't every new construction from this day forward, why do they not have built-in solar panels? Why aren't all these businesses and why aren't all these homes and all these places, why is this not mandatory built-in? The reason why is because it would put power companies out of business in a heartbeat. That's why it doesn't happen. Why, if electric cars are so amazing, they're going to save the world, then why is it not mandated on high that we have these things? Why are we screaming about a damn straw going up a turtle's nose. Why is that the narrative when that doesn't affect anything? My wife had a paper straw at Disney yesterday, a paper straw, and she goes, and she took it out and she tried to bend it. It was still really hard. And she goes, this would still go up a turtle's nose.
I always joke around. People say that about the straws going up the turtle's nose. I go, I was at some restaurant, said, it wasn't the straw that killed the turtle. It was the cocaine.
That was
I got people like looked at me. It was some people were like just start dying laughing. But yeah, it's stupid because I read something where this took place in San Francisco, right? Supposedly the turtle.
Yeah.
So they said there's no actual outlet into the ocean from the city for that to happen for the straw to go up his nose, something like that. I think it was like, I remember now thinking, they really don't need a reason. They give you reasons, like always for the betterment of mankind or turtle kind. But it's like they give you reasons, and it's really there's something else behind it. It's always like money, power, control. It's always something else. But they give you these reasons that good-hearted, well-intentioned people like believe, because like I want to do good. I want to help people. I want to help the turtles. But it's like they just do use that as an excuse. They're not, hey, you know what? We're $1 billion because we want to. Maybe they're pushing some other type of thing. Something's going on behind the scenes that we don't know. But to me, it's mostly about control. There's other things that you find out later.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, I was told to read my super chats. I'm sorry, Mark C. I don't know. These don't really register on StreamYard. They don't register like super chats when the same as when I'm on YouTube. So sometimes I don't recognize these as super chats. So I apologize. So I went far enough back to get Mark C. So
Yeah.
Mark says, here is some cash since Mike is stream sniping, stealing your viewers. Is he really?
He's streaming the same time we're talking here. He's viewing our video.
You know what? It wouldn't be the first time Mike ripped me off. He's got the nerds of the round table, and I have the pontificators, which, by the way, Matt, you can be a guest anytime you want.
Okay.
I think not this week, but next week, Chester Busby III may be bowing out, so we might need a pinch hitter. So if you're available, we usually talk like this on the show. So if you want, I'll invite you in.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we do them Friday nights. So Pamela, apparently Matt and I are cleaning up YouTube right now. So I'm reading all my billions of super chats right now. So tell everybody hi.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, I had this whole thing. I have your picture for our anniversary. I was going to show. There were some people in the chat that said happy anniversary, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
You want to read the super chat?
Yeah, congratulations.
No. Read the super chat. They're sick of hearing me talk.
I don't.
It's right here. It's on the screen here.
$5.
You have to say the name first.
Oh, Krang.
Krang. Who's there?
It sounds like a train.
Yeah, or clang.
Or tell Mike to make himself bigger on screen because we can't see him, please.
I guess they think he's in the chat here or in the on the stream, but yeah, I think he's sniping us.
It's because of that infamous meeting between you and Mike and WonderCon, trying to debate who's the tallest.
Yeah, well, you were there. You can tell everybody I'm taller, right, Matt?
I can't remember exactly. I knew there were some measuring going on.
Right, Matt?
Wow, that was very politically,
Safe.
yeah, you're very safe there. Yeah.
That's from spat on the fence right there.
Yeah, we should rename this like censorship or fence sitting.
You choose. You decide.
Yeah, you decide on that night. Fence
Or not.
Or are we making a stand? All right, I'm going back to see if there's any other super chats. I do not see them. So I apologize, you guys, because it's just a little number that shows up in front, and I don't always see that. So I'm still getting my bearings here. Yeah, so I saw one from Matt C. and
I think that was after Crane.
Krang, who's there?
Mike says, brought you viewers, you throw me under the bus?
I'll always throw you under the bus, Mike. That's the only thing that you can rely on is me throwing you under the bus. I brought you viewers. You throw no. I would never throw you under the bus, Mike. I think you throw yourself under the bus enough.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, he'll get me back on his show. Yeah, with his million old jokes. Yeah.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah, someone was like, "Hey, yeah, Mike's promoting your channel, Art." So
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. If that's indeed what you're doing, I don't trust you right now. I don't trust a word you're saying. Okay. Okay, so we got Rick. Paper straws can't be recycled because they have been contaminated by food. Plastic straws can be washed and recycled. Do they recycle straws? Do you mean melted down and reused, or just washed? That's weird. Do you want to wash straw? I don't know if I want that.
recycled straws.
Recycled straws.
Yeah.
We are no longer friends, Mike says. Oh, wait. It moved. I didn't mean to click that one. I hate when it does that. We are no longer friends. Well, where does Matt fit into that equation, Mike?
I think he's talking to you.
I'm trying to get you in trouble too, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
I figure if we're going down together.
Yeah. When
that fence comes down, we're going to go down together. Sitting on the fence like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, it's funny. Like my opinions are with family. On Facebook, I used to pretty much put my opinions out there, and I've had some family members like unfriend me on Facebook, and mostly women. But it's funny is like I'm not like in your face. I'm not the type of guy. I'm not. But I'm opinionated, and I never like call names or try to talk down to anybody. But I still offend people, and that's what I kind of find funny. It kind of makes me feel like Mr. Horace from Ren and Stimpy, where you feel kind of disgusted. Instead of feeling pity, you feel disgusted with somebody. And I'm like, man, are you kidding me? I'm like being soft shoot, and I'm like really treading lightly, and I still step on some tender toes. But I think it's funny. I think like I said, people I've supposedly offended, like I'll see them like later on, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing, Matt?" You know, that's like talk. So I'm like, I think it's a lot of melodrama.
Yeah, that's why I try not to get too hung up on it, because sometimes I listen to Adam Carolla, and Adam says that he thinks most of it is just pretend anyways. Like people pretend to be offended, or they pretend to virtue signal so they can get some points, but it's not really how they feel. They're doing it for, that, what do they call it? That rush that you get, when people like your stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you never really know what people's motivations are anyway. Like right now, is somebody like, Mike telling the truth? I don't know. I mean, maybe Mike has an agenda here,
I think I know what it is now. Mike knows. Matt knows I'm taller.
but Matt has already said, Mike, that he doesn't know. So now it feels like you're bullying Matt. It feels like you're trying to force Matt to say something he doesn't want to say, Mike. See how you can do that? See, it's not that hard.
You're trying to disparage short people, Mike.
Is that what you're saying?
Little people.
Some people. Like, I don't know, like yourself.
That's the thing. Is like, I remember when we were there. I remember you guys doing the measuring like who's taller. I don't know I think you guys removed your shoes at one point. I'm not sure, but I remember we were just kind of kick out of it. I wasn't paying attention really.
That's right. Mike did force us to take our shoes off. We're right there on the con floor, right in front of Mike's booth, and we're like, walking around without our shoes on. But you know what? I didn't have my Kiss boots on, Arthur Brown. So that takes care of that controversy.
No lifts, right?
What's that?
No lifts. Like Robert De Niro wears lifts, right, in his shoes.
Oh no, I have oh my gosh, he's not really a friend. He worked at the studio here. He was so like there are short people that are wackadoo, like they're like nuts, like they don't want to be short, right? The thing, this is how I feel. Like I just kid with Mike. I don't really care. It's just fun ribbing. But the thing is, if somebody says, "Oh, you know what, Art, you're short," it's like, no shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like if somebody goes, "You're four eyes," and you're just like, "Yeah, I wear glasses." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, thanks for pointing out the obvious. Like, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're tall. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I know tall people get that a lot too. I knew one guy, he was about 7 foot tall, and every time wherever we go, they'd be like, "Whoa, man, you're tall!" It's like every time. And I'm like, it's funny. I think about it. I'm like, he probably kind of gets sick of that, probably. But he got to the point where he's like, "Oh yeah, my family's all tall, and I'm actually the shortest one in the family." And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, the weird thing is I'm the tallest one in my family. We are
my mom, and she was the tallest. She was like 5'3" or something. I don't know. She was the giant.
yeah. It's funny, but it's like we were talking. When you're on the schoolyard, and then you realize when somebody goes, "Oh, you're short," they call you half pint, and all those things, squirt, and then you realize, yeah, well, you know what? For my age, and for this grade level and everything, I am short. So then you start realizing, like, yeah, well, yeah, no duh,
Yeah.
And then as soon as you come back with them and say, yeah, you know what? I am short, then they can't do anything anymore,
Yeah, my friend, he'd be like, "Thanks, Captain Obvious."
Exactly. But the thing is, now what they encourage people to do is like go report that person. And then that person will get in trouble now because they disparaged you because your height deficiency or whatever, kind of, weird speak that they'll put onto it. And before, if you just say that to that person, then it takes care of the situation. And they'll probably come at you a couple more times, but then you just say the same thing. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'm short. Who cares? And as long as you're comfortable with it and they know that it's not an insult to you, they'll have to move on to the next guy.
Yeah, they gotta find. Yeah, they're like, "Well, that's all I got. I don't know." Yeah, you were short. I've had people do similar things, and I just like, yeah, so like, okay, well, nothing. That's all I got. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It's funny though. Yeah, I think my parents always taught me to grow up to have thick skin. It's funny how my grandparents, same thing, taught you to grow up. Never let them see you sweat, right? Don't let them know things are bothering you because they're gonna want to do more. And
Yeah, exactly.
it's just funny how now well, not we, but like people and trying to social engineer people to do the opposite, be sensitive about everything. And then so who do you go to for protection? You go to the government, go to the police, go for just little things. And,
Yeah. And in the day, Matt, did you ever get any satisfaction going to a teacher and spilling on somebody? You never did.
it just got worse. It was like a prison rules. You never snitch because it just got worse for you in school.
Yeah, you go deal with it, and then also like either the bully or the guy that's like what Mike's doing right now. Like either that guy's going to learn that he can't get his way, or he's going to have to get better at the insults. Mike.
People call you. I see it.
Yeah. Well, Mike's finally got an IndieGoGo. He's on the right side again. He's got Lone Star, the first issue, Heart of the Hero, up on IndieGoGo right now. So you all should go check it out as soon as Matt and I are done pontificating about the evils of the world. Yes,
and hopefully we've helped light a fire underneath some of the fence sitters.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta speak out.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, do you have anything coming up? I know that you're working with Narwhal on something, right?
Yeah. It's funny that Narwhal's coloring your book. He's actually coloring the book I'm working on as well. I haven't started the pages yet. I'm actually starting it this week. I've been doing layouts, but the book's called Modded, and it's with Narwhal, is one of the co-writers with Tungsten, who's a Nerf modder, and another writer from the writers' room. And yeah, it's a fun project. It's really out there. It's basically alien invasion. They have an alien champion that they challenge Earth's mightiest athletes or sportsmen or whatever to like 1,000 different competitions that they're choosing, and we lose every single one of them. We're down to the wire to the last 1,000, and the Nerf modders, Nerf gun guys stand up and they want a shot at a Nerf competition, and if they win, they save the world. And so that's basically where the story takes off. It's an out there fun story, and that's why I'm trying to make the character designs really fun out there. Just take advantage of the story visually, and we're handling it seriously too. We're not trying to make it goofy, but in a way it's kind of like an 80s thing. The 80s, some people might look at some things and say, oh man, that was, but it worked because they just put everything they had into it and they took it seriously, and it was fun.
What was that show in the 80s or 90s, whenever it was? I'm so old I can't even distinguish between the decades anymore. So there's fodder for you, Mike. So now you can make old jokes, the short jokes. So what was it called? Like something Gladiator, like American Gladiator or something, and they'd have
American Gladiator.
Yeah, they had these buff guys on, and gals on, and they would have like foam like staffs and different things, and they'd beat the crap out of them. Like, is it kind of like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically, but it's one champion, and the design is influenced from a snapping turtle. He's kind of like an alien, kind of with a beak, but he's like a big, huge guy, and he's good at everything though. It's not just like strengths competition and sports like that. He's good at chess and water sailing, sailboat, equestrian, whatever you name it, boxing, and but the Nerf modders, they stand up. That's the last. I mean, they did everything. They've done ping pong. This guy is good at everything. So they step up, and you can see if they can take it to the hoop, beat this guy, save Earth. But it's a fun book, and yeah, I'm doing layouts right now on my YouTube channel. You can watch like videos of me doing layouts, and I'll start the actual comic pages soon as well.
Does the ping pong guy have Forrest in his name or Gump?
No, see, if that would have happened, it would have been a short story. It'd been already over. We'd have won.
That's true. That guy kicks ass. Oh, look at this. Look at this. The witty Mike not only got a tall, but an old joke combined.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man, he mixed it in there.
I challenged Mike and he's stepping up. But he's shrinking because he's old. Yeah, I got it.
Man, Mike doesn't miss the opportunities.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's good talking to you. Thanks for having me on too. It's good conversation.
We're not done yet. We're not done. Well, I'm gonna go into my thing. If you want to take off, but that's cool. I was gonna kind of plug Chrono.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But wait, when do you think yours is going to be up and going live?
Oh, we're gonna launch it. We're talking in spring, so hopefully early spring. But yeah, so and it's cool. Like I've seen some of the colors Narwhal did on your book, so I was always excited to see him do colors on my art. So it's cool to see him doing colors on art.
Yeah, I have a page, and so for your patience, I will show you the first page of my new book, Chrono Mechanics. So I got to do some clicking. Here. Figure out how to do this. Okay, boom, 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 and then boom, boom. All right, this is what I was going to lead with. I was going to be nice. This is my lovely bride here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's our 25th wedding anniversary. So let me find this. Okay, here it is. So this is the first page of Chrono Mechanics.
Oh, nice. That is sweet.
Yeah, so this is Narwhal colors. I laid it out. I did a thumbnail and I art directed it with how the Chrono Incorporated would look through the dome, and then Render did a I guess kind of a breakdown of it. No rendering, no shadowing, stuff like that, which is basically what I need at this point, because the Chrono style is so, I don't think there's enough time that he could learn the style, so he couldn't really pencil in the style. So he's got a style guide that he's working from, but as far as like the inks and just bringing it together, that's all going to be me. So I believe there's 15 pages that he's going to be helping out on. It's at this point, it's a 48-page graphic novel. But what we're hoping for is to expand it to 60. And if we get to that 60 pages, he'll be doing, I believe, 19 pages of the book. The rest will be all my pencils and inks and that. And then on those 15 to 19 pages, Render's going to be helping me out as far as bringing some, like, I guess these would be breakdowns, and then my inks over them. But look at, oh my gosh, Narwhal's
that's beautiful page.
Yeah,
Like
he fits. Yeah, he fits the style really, really well. Like that kind of cell shade look.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, it looks simple, like when you look at it. But you and I know, Matt, like when artists look at this, they're like, "Holy crap!" There's a lot of thought work. Yeah,
it just has like form and life to it. It looks like it's like taken from an animated movie, almost like you can see it moving or floating there.
Yeah,
it is nice.
Oh, thank you. He did a great job. And let me zoom in. So this is Chrono Incorporated. So this is the company that employs the chrono mechanics, the time repairmen. So if you look really close, there's a stream where I'm inking this, but this is the finish. So these are the ships right here. Let me see if I can, this is pretty good resolution. So you can see the time ships, they're in their docks. So they circle the outer circumference of the satellite. So those are like the repair bays. And then that little trough that's right in front of them, they drop down in there, and then they move down into the shaft, or the bolt, the screw part of the bolt. And then each one of those little circles are ports. So it's kind of like a boom tube. So like the New Gods boom tube. And so the ships get shot out of those, and they go to their respective timelines. So each one of the teams have their own time streams that they repair. So it's basically like they get into their work trucks, and then they commute the time stream to the job site, and then they repair the big machine that's known as time. So when I say the big machine, it's literally a nuts and bolts machine. So
yeah. That's cool. People seem to really like it. Responding on the side, they said that looks great with the colors, art.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can't see that, so thanks, Matt, for helping.
Peter Charon in the sketch therapy says I like it.
Oh, cool.
Is that Darth Vader under the dome?
Maybe, you can never tell. So
art looks cool.
Well, thank you, Pablo. Yeah, so the center right here is where the offices are. So that's where the all the administrative stuff is done. So you always have to have, your business side, the paper pushers. So they kind of are in the center of it. And this one building that goes all the way up with the clocks on it, that's kind of where the people are, they're pulled from timelines. So what Chrono Inc. does is they recruit throughout time. So they try to find the best recruits or candidates to come to work for Chrono Incorporated. So they basically draft from all timelines. And so they search constantly for the best and the brightest. So that thing in the center with the clock faces, that's where they come into work. So they're transported from their timeline into Chrono Incorporated, and that's the building. And so that's the building where they go to the locker room, they suit up, they get into their suits, their power suits, basically their work clothes, their hard hats, and then they punch their time clock, and then they walk out to the bay, where the ship is, and then they get in their truck, and then they go to work. So it's basically it's the mundane, which is just like it's your pain in the ass working class type job, mixed with the super fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you fly in time curve.
Yeah, exactly. So they end up like saving time itself and doing these like super fantastic stuff. But to them, it's just their pain in the ass job. You know what I mean? Like they just do this every day, and it doesn't really mean too much to them.
Yeah.
That's
cool, man.
Yeah, and so if you haven't noticed, the satellite Chrono Incorporated is basically a giant bolt out in space.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fun designs like this. It's a big fun action adventure sci-fi. My quick pitch is H.G. Wells meets the Looney Tunes. So it's got science fiction aspects to it, time travel aspects, but it's all, it's all good, clean fun. It's nothing to be taken too seriously.
Razmaz is asking, no bathrooms?
They'd probably be in the offices somewhere. You probably have to have one of those pass keys. Like a lot of those exclusive offices. You have to have those pass keys. In the case of Chrono Mechanics, they probably have one of those ones like at the gas station that's on a rim of a car, like a wheel.
Yeah, giant like a rim.
Rim. Yeah. They have to carry around with the key on it, because they don't want you to steal the key.
Okay, go back to your timeline with the bathroom key. That's a no.
That's a no, man. So they have it like strapped to a giant gear or something. So you can't steal it. Yeah. And they probably have executive bathrooms too, which they probably have some kind of high tech, pass key for. So this is this is the cover to the first issue.
Oh, cool.
So we have 3 mechanics here, which is team 9.2 of Sector 7. So the guy floating on the top there with the magic around him, that's Zen. He's an intergalactic child deity. So that's like his home world or his home timeline. And so on the left side with the hammer is Caravaggio. So he's modeled after the actual Renaissance painter Caravaggio. He's very loosely. So there are people that think that Caravaggio was never given his due in his lifetime. So he's definitely a frustrated, artist. We can relate, Matt. Yeah, he's just waiting to be discovered as well. So it doesn't bode well. And also he's a little paranoid, but you might find out that there is some truth in it, that he's also a little bit of an inventor, and he feels that Leonardo da Vinci is ripping him off. So yeah, so that's a little a little side note there. And so, and then there's Oot, who's a prehistoric businessman. We used to call him prehistoric Donald Trump because Donald Trump is real estate, or was at the time. And now you can't say Donald Trump because it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. So we just say he's a prehistoric businessman that specializes in real estate. So he's perfected the cave condo. And so he rents those out. And if you pay a little extra every month, there's a fire pit. So he also claims that he's invented fire. So, he's bringing the comforts of home to everybody in his timeline. And so the guy that's not a chrono mechanic at this point, you'll just have to read the story and find out where that leads. One of the aspects of the chrono mechanics is there's always 4 mechanics. Each team has 4 mechanics. And so it's by policy. So if you don't have a 4th member, then you can't really do the job. So what happens is, sometimes sadly people die on the job, and we find out, spoiler alert, that we lose a member early on in the storyline. And so that Chrono Inc. has to, as a mad rush, they have to replace that 4th member. So they replace him with Doug. He's a 70s rock god / slacker. So there's one thing that Chrono Inc. never does, is they never recruit from the 20th century, but then they have a little disclaimer, the latter part of the 20th century. So Doug is definitely from the latter part. So somehow everybody questions the reason why he's there. And so as you read the story, you'll realize why Doug is there and why he's the perfect fit or not to this team. So that's kind of my pitch here. I have a pre-launch page up right now. I'm going to stop sharing and go back. Boom.
Was that image colored by Narwhal as well?
Yeah, that page of Chrono Incorporated is the great Narwhal's colors.
Wow, it's totally, it gets different looking than he adapted to fit that style of art.
Oh, did he? Yeah, I didn't know.
Because his style is usually a lot different from what I've seen his coloring, and that's nice, man. Oh, obviously you're a talented artist. You can, talented artists can change. Like as you well know, inking different artists, you can adapt.
Yeah, sometimes art, like working with different team members, will inspire you, and
Yeah.
sometimes like things will come out like stylistically that you had no idea were even there. So if I'm inspiring him to do something outside of his wheelhouse, I'm happy because I think it looks fantastic. It looks pretty amazing, and so we actually have a release week. I don't have an actual date because we have to get things okay. And there's some things that are out of our control as far as IndieGoGo, but we have the pre-launch page up right now. So if you guys sign up for the Chrono Mechanics pre-launch, you will be eligible for exclusives and fun freebies that no one else will. So if I can encourage you to go there and sign up for the pre-launch, that would be great. I think in the description there's a link. And also next week we are going to go live with Chrono Mechanics. So we're thinking Wednesday or Thursday of next week to go live for Chrono. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it because yeah, it would be nice to get this book into some people's hands.
Yeah, and it looks like people want it from the comments. So yeah, it looks great, man. It looks great art.
Oh, thank you. We have some I stand with Trump in the chat here. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, surprisingly, people are actually behind the president. Remember when you used to be behind your president, Matt?
Wow, yeah, I know. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that was it 8 years ago. People are all like, "Yeah, back the president." Now, you know, things. It's funny how he's the most non-partisan president we've had in a decade, and like he's like vilified. It's crazy.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And the thing is, that yeah, he's not even really a politician. He's not a career politician.
Yeah.
He's just a guy. So you would think, like, out of all the people that, you know, the left would be in love with this guy because he's just kind of a do-it-yourselfer that's he's not a professional politician. He just kind of came out of nowhere and won the election. So I don't know, as far as just a grassroots, you know, American dream kind of thing, doesn't he embody it? You know?
Yeah. No, it's funny how people loved him until he ran for as a Republican, and then they hated him.
Yeah.
It's just really weird to me seeing. I didn't expect people to react that way, but I guess I didn't really expect them to have a whole full campaign against Steve. They do the same thing with every candidate that runs. They had smear campaigns and everything, make somebody look like a villain, no matter what. They try to dig in your past, find anything you did when you were 6 years old. You know, it's beyond ridiculous. But yeah, there's one guy that I watch sometimes on YouTube, and his YouTube is Flecka Fox, and he goes around to different college campuses and stuff, and he tries to promote his thing. He says Trump's not that bad, and he's like, I'm not trying to say he's good, great. I'm just saying it's not that bad. Try to find some middle ground, and most people are like, yeah, he's not that bad. He's not as bad as the media says he's bad, you know.
Yeah, you can't even be fair in an assessment. You can't even be fair, like, to point out good and bad things about the guy. If you do, regardless, you're going to be, well, not regardless, but if you say anything good about him, you're going to get condemned.
Yeah, no, it's funny. People are even scared to say the name out loud. It's like, it's so weird. This day and age we're living in, you say the word Trump, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, someone hearing me? There's some psycho going to attack me? Or it's just kind of funny in a way. It's sad, but it's kind of funny that people are afraid to even say the name or have a T-shirt with the name. You might get clubbed or milkshaked or whatever they're doing to people these days. To me, it's kind of funny. I do have like some stuff that I would got just to be funny, and my friend's like, don't do that, don't wear that. And I'm like, just to see, you know, unless you're like in fighting shape, you probably don't want to walk around wearing a Trump shirt unless you want to practice martial arts or something.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? And then the other side feels like that they're in the total right, that they can attack even that person physically, and that somehow they're immune from like law. Like, no, you can't assault people. It's against the law. It's just against the law regardless. Like, whatever the the situation is. And they seem to think like, oh no, you can do it in this case. Really?
Yeah, no, it's like violence is. It's funny how words are violence, except getting punched in the face is not violent when the guy's wearing a Trump hat. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's
Yeah,
just funny.
there's this perverse side that sometimes you're like, well, I'm just going to wear my MAGA hat. Not that I have one, but wear a MAGA hat out and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like there's a perverse side of you that there's like, let's see what happens. See if this narrative's true. But the thing is, it is true. If you or I went out, we would probably be persecuted.
Yeah, no, it's funny is that people go, oh no, because you say, oh, anyone wearing a Trump get attacked, and I talk to people about this and like, no, that's not true, and I'm like, here, how about this? I'll give you a Trump hat and walk around and see how safe you feel. And like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, yeah, because you know why? You get like club with a stock of nickels or something.
Yeah, there's a good chance that you're going to get cold conked.
Yeah, it's funny though. Is most of the people that do get attacked are usually like little kids and women. It's never some guy's, buff, pumped up dude. They don't. That guy.
There was this black guy that got attacked, and he didn't have a MAGA hat on, but he was attacked by people that had one. They poured bleach on him, and they put a noose around his neck.
Oh man!
At 3:00 in the morning, in the freezing cold, and he was going out for a Subway sandwich.
Yeah, 2 in the morning, and that's when Trump supporters, they like hanging around in freezing temperatures around Subway in Chicago, in the middle of Chicago.
Yeah, just waiting for somebody, anybody. Let's get that guy.
I'm not like a huge fan of Dave Chappelle, but I saw some clips where he talked about that, and I was cracking up. And he's like, it's weird. The African American community kept sadly silent about this, and he goes, because we were silent because we were trying to support him in our silence because it was a bunch of bull.
Because we knew he was lying, yeah.
Everybody online, even in my Facebook friends who are left leaning or far left, they're like, yeah, that guy's a liar. They just knew it, but they're like, hey, whatever,
Yeah, but that's the world we live in. It's pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts. Yeah. So I should let you go, Matt, and everybody in the chat. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. This was kind of an impromptu thing, but Matt, you turned this into a success. And thanks to everybody in the chat, and thanks, Mike, for heckling. And if you haven't checked out Mike's book, he's reissuing Heart of the Hero, Lone Star, and it's up on IndieGoGo, where it should be, Michael. Yeah, I hope you learned your lesson, Mike. No Kickstarter for you. You get no Kickstarter. Yeah. Well, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, just to say, yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great talking with you and reading the chat. And good times. Great.
Yeah, we'll do it again. And so once again, Chrono Mechanics IndieGoGo pre-launch page. It's up right now. Please sign up for exclusives, and we will be going live with the actual campaign Wednesday, Thursday of next week. My wife and I still have to look into getting this all okayed by IndieGoGo. I hope there's no problem. Now I'm getting a little nervous. Well, it's not Kickstarter. It shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, thanks to everybody. Thank you so much. It's been great, and have a great day. Talk to you later.
Later, guys.